The fact that you've never been on camera.
So funny.
If nobody knew anything about you,
that
they
would told them a
would
lot.
From just that
right
right there. Like you just
I think I sound
exposed
black.
your identity.
I think you sound black too.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean,
I'm not sure if I
Fine,
sound
aside from
black.
that.
Sometimes the way people approach me once they've talked to me on the phone and then they meet me for the first time, I know I don't sound black.
I think there's things you say.
I say black
Yeah.
things,
that
but I
give
don't think
away
I
you're
sound.
black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very discouraging to me. I wish I sounded like Keke Palmer.
Wait, what?
I love her so much.
What?
Keke Palmer is just like a black woman has entered the chat. Like you just know. Me? Ambiguous.
Okay, we're back after
Okay, we're done.
technical
for real?
difficulties.
We're back.
We're
Okay.
back?
Yes.
Well, and you know what? You had segued right, like you were like, okay, next, and then we'd stop.
Yeah, so it was like the
we're
perfect
fine.
part, but technical difficulties.
How will they know?
Well, I just
No
told
one's
you.
gonna know. Are we telling them it was technical difficulties, or we just carry on like normal?
Yeah, might as well. I don't care. I don't think it matters.
Okay.
We had technical difficulties and we are back.
Thanks.
Well, yeah. Right. If we lost the whole beginning of this episode,
Now you know.
you missed us talking about pink dresses and
Scent.
our favorite fragrances
And prayer
and prayer
and gratitude.
and gratitude and welcome to Big Girl Panties. Okay, so anyway.
Could you imagine if that's how we started all our episodes? Yeah. Okay. So we wanted to chat a bit more about the idea of changing your diet. If you were with us for last week's episode, you know that we talked about just like our identity in Christ versus some of our identity in the world, specifically as women and the messaging we receive. And so I thought it'd be fun, and Priya thought it'd be fun, if we could talk a bit more about what do we do to, quote unquote, change our diet? Like, what are some things that you're conscious of? What has that journey been like for you? I guess technically it's like, how's your sanctification process going is really the intimidating way of saying it. But you know what I mean? Which sanctification, briefly, is, I would say it's like the process of becoming more like Jesus. That's how I would define it.
Yeah. I mean, to water it down even more, it's like your spiritual self-growth, would you say?
Spiritual self-growth, definitely. But it's like,
I mean, it's more to it than that. That's watered down.
But it's specifically to Jesus.
Becoming more like Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out
So
here
it's your Jesus growth.
that are spiritually growing
Right.
and crystals.
Yes.
Did you say crystals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So in that process, changing
Sorry,
our
this
diet.
is so unrelated, but do you
What?
ever think about like how in the Bible talks about like the rocks crying out,
Yes.
but then like the way that people talk about like crystals as if they have the powers of like God and can like really do stuff like heal, you know?
I haven't really thought about it, but now that you mention it, it is odd.
I haven't really thought about it deeply either until like right now.
Oh, okay.
It was just
You're like, oh, guys.
yeah. Listen to this. Anyway, should ponder that one later.
Slot that in.
My bad. Squirrel.
That's okay. We love you for it. Yeah, in that process of just changing our diets, being more conscious of the things that we're doing, saying, consuming, and trying to become more like Jesus. How has that process been for you? What are some things that you're paying attention to? And what are some things that have been really helpful?
It's an interesting question. So I went through a phase where the people that I was friends with and spending my time with was a big part of it. And that was difficult because it did involve distancing myself from like certain people that I had been friends with for a long time. And yeah, like it's not even that they were like, you know, terrible people and like I got in with the wrong crowd and like they were leading me down a dangerous path. Like it's not,
Yeah.
you know, it's not even like it was like dramatic like that, but it just was not conducive to me growing in the way that I knew I wanted to grow, basically. And so, yeah, I mean, like the connection is still there. Like I'm still friendly with a lot of these people and stuff like that. But like the like the level of friendship, like the depth of like closeness and that kind of thing, has definitely lessened. And I say that because I don't think that every situation is a situation where you have to cut people off, because I feel like that's like a topic now where people are like, this friendship or this relationship, whatever, no longer serves me, and so I'm like cutting it off and
Right.
walking away. You know what I mean? And I don't, unless something is like drastically wrong, I don't think that it's right to treat people that way. That seems selfish to me.
Well, it's very self-serving.
Yeah. So I'm not advocating for that. But I think that there's just truth to the idea that like you kind of become a product of your environment in a way. And even if the environment is not necessarily terrible, is it just like, is it the environment that you want to find yourself in like 2 years from now or a year from now? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like those are the kind of people that you have to surround yourself with. So yeah, there was a time when that was part of it. I mean, it still is, but not in the sense that like I'm having to like distance myself from people. Now it's just like actively making sure that I stay in relationship and stay around people who are, you know, going to like help me grow spiritually and like encourage me and pray for me and like call me out and like that kind of stuff, you know?
Okay. Can I ask,
Mm-hmm.
what are you looking for specifically when you're saying like, I want people around me who are going to help me grow spiritually? Like, what are their fruits that you're looking for that you know is going to help you then produce that godly fruit?
What are the fruits that I'm looking for? Do you ever have this where like you know exactly what you want to say in your head, but like you have the idea, but then you're like, but where are the words?
Oh yeah.
Daily. Like, where are the words? Thank you.
Were you getting distracted?
He's always looking at the.
Because I can see myself in the monitor, and so I was making sure that I didn't have a hair that was like
He cut that off.
one of
real
the gray
quick.
hairs. You know,
One of the gray hairs.
yeah. I think that for me right now, people who are like active in their faith, if that makes sense, like involved, is a big thing for me. So, okay, how do I phrase this? Like in church, for example, like people who are involved in different areas. I think that a lot of those kind of people are the people right now who I like am kind of just like examining, if that makes sense. I think an area for me that I know I need to grow in is just when it comes to consistency. And so I think in that sense, looking at people who display like just like a level of like spiritual maturity that I know that I would love to grow into, because I know it takes consistency to grow like that, right? That's a big one. I think in this season of my life, being a wife, it also looks like who are the the women around me who are like in healthy marriages. I think that's another big one.
Right.
Yeah.
So discipleship, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think that's good.
Mm-hmm. I think, sorry, I'm not picking my nose. It was an itch.
You weren't even on camera, so you just exposed yourself.
Oh no. Yeah, I think discipleship is a big one.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely in a season of life right now where I feel like I very much need to be like discipled and like poured into. Yeah. I mean, I know that we all have things to give and like things that we can offer and, you know, within ourselves that we could help somebody else with. So like I know that that's true, but in this season of my life right now, I feel like I don't have much to give.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm the one that needs to be just like poured into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's natural. We're always going to have those ebbs and flows of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be times when you feel very connected, whether it be to God, your church community, whatever it is, and you feel more spiritually strong. And there's sometimes where, yeah, you're like, I'm a little baby, feed me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And both are very, very important because both teach us different elements of dependence on God. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But does that speak to the diet, though?
I think it does
Yeah.
because if you recognize that that is something like an area that you want to grow on and it's something that you need, then sometimes that can involve changing your diet in the sense of the people that you hang around with and the friends that you're the closest with. Because if your current friends right now are not the people who are going to feed your soul like that and pour into you like that and encourage you in those kinds of ways and, you know, help call you out in those specific areas and all those kinds of things, then may need to switch some things up, you know,
Yeah.
find some other people.
I would never consider friends or the people you're around your diet. Because, like, because to me, a diet is what you consume.
I understand what you're saying, but I disagree because think about the things you're consuming. It's like the things that you're hearing, the things that you're seeing, the things that you're paying attention to,
Talking about.
And if you have friends that are, you know, saying things that they shouldn't be saying, like doing things that they shouldn't be doing, watching things that, you know, you shouldn't be watching because you're trying to go on a specific spiritual path, you are still consuming it. It's happening around you. You're absorbing it. And so inadvertently, yeah, it is. You become your diet. Like you become the sum of that. It's you absorb what's in your environment.
I think even like people who have, like, for example, a drastically different perspective on a particular topic that you are trying to like navigate for yourself. And like, to be very clear, I'm not saying that if like, I'm not saying that this should become like a, you know, an echo chamber, like a confirmation bias, like kind of a situation where like you want to think one thing or like believe something or grow in a certain area, whatever. And so you only surround yourself with people who are going to think, speak, you know, act, walk, talk, whatever, the same way that you are. Cause I think that then can become detrimental to your growth as well. Like, we all need to be challenged. We all need to be aware of like varying perspective and thoughts and things like that. So I'm not saying that you should only surround yourself with like-minded people per se. But I think it's more so like, where's your influence coming from? Like, I think that you absolutely could and should still be friends with people who don't necessarily believe the exact same things that you do. But again, where is the influence coming from? Is it coming from like them or is it coming from like somewhere else? Because I feel like wherever the influence is coming from, that's what's then going to help to dictate your growth in that area. Does that make sense?
It does. No, it definitely
Does that make sense?
No.
You don't think so?
Like, it does make sense, just not in context of, to me, of the diet conversation. Like, I can see how people that have influence on you can influence your diet or how you go about what you consume. But I think at the end of the day, your diet is yours and yours alone. Because if we're being as like honest as possible, I think a lot of people could change their people they're around and still consume the same diet. Because if it's in context of last week's discussion, we were talking about using the word to be your source of strength in times when you need it, right? And I don't think just because you're hanging around good people equates to you now consuming good things for your diet. It can influence you to want to go, like if you start hanging around fit people, they can influence you to want to go to the gym and eat healthy. But it's not their responsibility, or it's not even on them if you eat healthy or go to the gym.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because what we're talking about is the whole process of that changing your diet. And so it's not to say like this is, because I see what you're saying. There are very specific things that are for you and for you alone, between you and God. But if we're talking about on a whole, that transformation, I think it's important to include just even the stuff that just has some of that influence on you, or things that might, like, if you're on a diet and I am coming in eating cheeseburgers every day, like you're going to want a cheeseburger. So I think it's important to also pay attention to those tiny little elements that might make you lose your focus and like no longer being single-minded towards what you're trying to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Does that make sense?
So that means the conversation is just broader than diet, really.
Well, I think we're just getting started. I could be wrong.
Sorry, it's my brain. I can't help it.
No, it's good.
I was
It's
thinking
good.
about the
Please,
actual.
we're 10 minutes
I was
in.
thinking about the actual question you asked, like,
No, and that's
how is
fair.
your diet? And then you talk about people, and I'm like, but
Because
okay.
we're getting there, because I wanted to prompt you, like, so we know people is something that you're paying attention to, and wanting and needing that sense of discipleship. And I mean, I could see that helping in many ways, because again, it's like you're passively absorbing things from people, but also being discipled allows you to have more direction in what do I specifically need to be paying attention to in my life and directly change in order to become more like Jesus. So in that, I was going with like, what else? So discipleship is one. What's something else? Or what are more things?
On the pod,
It's my mom.
she knows
Hi,
what time we
Mommy.
record.
I know she does.
Like, that's rude. Should have answered
Letha.
you should have answered on the pod.
Should I do it?
Let her say hi to the people. She wouldn't want to.
Mommy.
Yeah.
We're recording the podcast right now.
Well, I'm in Costco looking for a shirt for your husband right now.
Hi, Mrs. Vinalis.
Well, hello. Do you need a shirt too?
No, thank you.
Okay.
This is all being recorded.
Oh, dear. Long sleeves or short sleeves?
Long sleeves.
I didn't hear that.
Long sleeves.
Okay. I hope this just drives your listeners. Bye.
She hangs up. Your mom has the quickest hang-ups out of everyone I ever know.
Oh, nobody hangs up faster than her.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, she's gone." Dial tone.
Oh my gosh, no, like it's true. Bye is a one-syllable word, and yet she will hang up in the middle of saying the word.
So funny.
That's funny.
Oh my
We're recording
gosh.
while I'm buying shirts.
I'm in Costco as we speak. Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
Oh, she's great.
I'm so glad you answered.
That was really funny.
That was very funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, other things.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think another one for me was the music that I listened to. Um, because I can sometimes, actually most of the time, I'm listening to music passively. Like I'm not like sitting there just like dialed in, focusing. And so because of that, a lot of the times before I wouldn't quite care as much. And so yeah, now I'm just a little bit more aware of what music I have on in the background. And so what like kind of like my heart is ingesting, even though like my ears aren't necessarily super, super paying attention. And like, again, within reason, like I'm not advocating for, you should exclusively listen to Christian music and nothing else. I mean, if that's a personal conviction, then like great, do it. But it's not for me. But yeah, that is something that that I just kind of took note of.
Yeah.
Cause like, let's just say like I'm getting ready, for example, like, and I'm doing my makeup and I have like music on in the background. I started to notice that even though I'm not, again, closely paying attention to it, the way that I'll feel when I'm done and I get up and go to do something else, when I've been listening to like whatever else versus when I've been listening to like some Christian music, for example, like there actually is a difference.
Yeah. I think music is a big one.
Yeah.
I also feel like I made a decision to be a lot more conscious. I would say I'm like a conscious music listener, which sounds so silly, but like I am very conscious of what I'm listening to, the messaging involved in it, and just like you, it's not to say I exclusively listen to Christian music. I'm not gonna lie, it's like 98% of what I listen to, but I also will listen to other things, but I'm just really, really picky about it. And sometimes that has involved me having to go into like the settings on my streaming app and like set specific things. Cause you know how sometimes it'll like curate things for you and stuff like that. And I think it's worth doing that for me because I know in the long run, it puts me in a better headspace. I know that in the long run, it helps me feel more connected to God in a way. And I think it can be easy for us to think when we're changing our diet that it's just like, oh yeah, I'll just stop, blah, blah, blah. But there are a lot of steps involved and you have to be very, very intentional about it all the time. So yeah, I think finding those tiny little things that you could adjust to make that part easier is good. But I agree. I think music has such a deep effect on your day to day and just how you're approaching things and your mood. So I like that one.
Yeah. What about for you?
Let's see. I have made an effort to do a lot of like social media cleanouts. So going through and deciding, why am I following this person? Is it somebody I want to continue following? How do I feel? Or is it something that's kind of like taking my focus off of things that are more important? Sometimes there's people that you follow and they can make you feel, not they can make you feel, you feel a certain way in response to what they're posting. And that's not their fault. They should do whatever. But I just know, okay, time for me to exit stage left. So I try really hard to be careful about who I'm following and why I'm following them. And also just very intentional about making sure that my feed is filled with things of God. So that might mean like following people who like share really openly about their faith a lot, because it makes me excited to hear about what they're sharing and like their testimonies and things like that. Again, like finding people in Christian spaces who are sharing about things that I think are really healthy and important. And I think it's good because sometimes, you know, you're scrolling and it's just like a good reminder. It's something that could kind of keep your mind refocused on God when you might have not been thinking about it. And then you see something and you're like, wow, that is so true, or that is so good. And I find that has been really, really helpful for me. Other thing in the idea of changing my diet, And this is, I don't know if it really fits into this exactly, but I've realized that sometimes when you're changing your diet, and I guess this is like really if you're changing your diet, like let's say you're actually on a new eating journey, you got to make the food kind of attractive because you might have to be retraining your entire palate, right? I think I have actually, and I think this is one of the best things I ever did for my walk with Jesus was really changed the way I approached my personal worship time. And I tried to make it very attractive. Like I get out all my favorite colorful pens, and I like get a Bible study book that's really beautiful, and I got like a Bible that I think is just so pretty, and like I light a candle, I make a cup of tea, like I do the whole bit. I'm like romanticizing the whole event, which I think is okay because it's like it makes me excited. It's like a date. I'm like, okay, this is the time I'm gonna spend. It's gonna be wonderful, and it becomes this really like peaceful, wonderful, quiet space and time where I'm actually dialed in and focusing on Jesus. And I don't see any shame or any problem with doing that. If you have to romanticize it a bit, if you have to hype yourself up a little bit for it, if you have to do something to make it even more exciting, because there are some times like spending time with Jesus is exciting on its own, but there are certain points in our life when it's not. And that's just the reality of being a Christian. Like there are times when it doesn't feel like what you want to do. So I think for me in that changing my diet process, it's like, how am I presenting this food? How am I going in with the mindset of it? Like knowing, okay, I'm going to make it exciting. I know it's nourishing. I know it's good for me. I'm going to go in with that mentality rather than it being like, okay, I just have to do it because check it off the list. Does that make sense?
It's funny. You say like romanticizing it and like, I know what you mean. I know you don't mean it in like, like a weird way. Like I understand what you're saying. It's funny because it reminds me of like, how you hear parents talk about how when they have a baby and like at nighttime, they have like the routine that they start to do before bedtime. Like they have the bath and then they do like this, and it's all they say in an effort to like start giving the baby these like sleep cues, like this is the process, this is what we do, and like when we do this, okay, it's like time to sleep now kind of thing. Like that's what it makes me think of. For you, it's like you make the tea and like you have like the specific pens that you use and that kind of thing, and it's all just a part of like your brain going, okay, like these are things that I enjoy and this is a part of this whole thing. Like this is how I do it. Like for me, this is how I do it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's kind of what it makes me think of.
Yeah, I like that. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things. I've been trying to be very cautious about what I'm consuming in terms of books because I'm a very big bookworm, like huge. And I know that there are some books that are just like, I don't need to be reading for various reasons. And I am very, very, very picky about it now. And I had to go through my little conversion process on that. Like the Holy Spirit had to whip me into shape a little bit. But now it's like, if I'm going to read a book, I'm like going into the reviews. I'm like, what is it actually like? What's the language like? What's the topic about? What's this? What's that? And it can often feel tedious. And sometimes, especially if everyone's talking about the book, I'm like, I want to read it too. Like, I want to know. And it takes a lot of discipline. And I'm not saying that to be like, I have discipline. Like, it's hard. It's not like I'm just breezing through it, but it's like really being thoughtful about it and picking and choosing. Like, I'm okay to read that, but I don't think I'm going to read this. Or, that type of thing. Which is...
What's the criteria?
It depends on the genre. I try to stay away from things that have like demons and like literally things like that, because I do believe that there is a spiritual realm that is of evil, and I just don't need to be like reading that before bed. Like I don't.
Fair.
I think this comes into play very heavily with romance books.
Yeah.
because there's some books out there that they're not just romance. It's not wholesome.
No.
And so I am always looking for closed door romance books. That is my new rule. Sometimes I accidentally get a book and it, like online, everyone was like, yeah, it's closed door. And I'm reading it. I'm like, I don't really think this is closed door. And then I will have to be like, okay, I'm going to put it aside, which sucks because I hate not finishing a book. But
Yeah,
like,
I was going to
sometimes you
say
gotta
that
do.
would, yeah, that'd
It
be
sucks.
terrible.
But I think that's probably the biggest area where I've noticed I've had to look for that for, is looking for closed door romances. So I don't need all
I'm
the
gonna
nitty-gritty.
assume that means
Like it's not smut. I'm not reading like then he did this and then she touched him here. Like I'm not.
Oh, I get you.
I don't need to know.
Erotica.
I just
Like
want them to
closed
fall in
doors,
love.
and like if it was a movie scene,
It's not erotica.
you see the
Exactly.
you see the first kiss, and then the door closes, and then the scene changes.
Yeah,
and-
it's like I'm smart.
Yeah,
I understand.
You can
Like,
infer what happened.
Yeah, I really don't need them to like walk me through it step by step.
I see.
Yeah. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest ones. And again, the funny thing with that whole idea of changing your diet, if you're being intentional about it, a lot of things get taken away from you. Plain and simple. But it's like, well, is Jesus worth it? But sometimes it's annoying sometimes. It's like, oh, dang, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
I have a question
Mm-hmm.
for the two people who went to school for psychology. What?
I feel like this is gonna be more for you than me, but
No.
How does? Have you ever heard of replacement? I don't know what the term is. Basically, like if you want to get rid of something in your life, you can't just take it away. You got to replace it with
Replace a bad
something.
habit with a good one.
yeah.
How
It's-
do you think that applies in this sense? Like, is the answer everything that I need to replace is just replaced with Jesus? Because that, yes, is the right answer. But practically, I think a lot of people might hear that and say, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? What does that mean?
I don't necessarily think that if something in your life is unhealthy, then you have to replace it with something else. Like an alternative. Do you know what I mean? I think that there are some things where it's just like, I just need to get rid of that and move on.
But I don't mean an alternative. Like I don't mean like Beyond Meat for the sake of not having a burger.
Okay.
Came for Beyond Meat.
Okay.
But like, for example, like let's say I'm struggling with music, right? When do I listen to music, right? And what am I going to replace that time of entertainment with? It doesn't even have to be entertainment,
Listening to this podcast.
right? Or like some people might start working out to replace certain things, you know? But like I don't think it has to be a replacement in the sense of like the good alternative to what you wanted before.
Yeah.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And so I feel like there's two things. Like in cognitive behavioral therapy, they would tell you, yes, the easiest way to break a habit or to do something like that is to just give yourself a replacement. But the part that's not talked about is then, are you going to wean yourself off of it entirely or not? I think in the context of what we're talking about, there are certain things that God is going to call you to just wean out entirely. Like, get rid of it. You don't need it. But I think he's gracious enough that he gives us that process where, like, for some people, they wake up one day and they're like, I'm not doing such and such anymore. And they just, like, that's it. And for some, it's like, that one song, I think I'm taking it off my playlist. And then next time it's this and next time it's that. But I'm not sure if I think there always has to be a replacement, but I think naturally it tends to happen. And it might not be an intentional replacement, but it's just if you were spending a lot of time doing that thing, the time is going to be filled with something else. So inadvertently, it is a replacement. Does that make sense?
But is it though? Because I think a lot of people might try to cut something out, but then not replace the time. Now you're just idle.
I see what you're saying.
And then that leads to
Well, that's
either
just
like,
not good.
what's it called? Relapsing on your bad habits. Or you just find a new bad habit. Personally, I think there has to be something to replace the energy that you're
But
giving to something
I think
else.
that like, okay, do you think that that's where like the growth actually comes in though? Because I feel like it's one thing to say, okay, I'm gonna stop doing X, but then where does like where's like the growth in that? How are you choosing to grow past it?
What do you mean?
Like let's like am I just gonna sit here and think about how much I'm really wanting to, I don't know, eat a whole pan of brownies? Let's just say. Sorry. Should have picked another thing. I should have picked another thing. Crap, now I want a brownie.
Me too.
Like, am I going to just sit here and think about how much I'm craving it, but then no, I'm not going to eat it? Or am I going to be like, okay, well, where's the growth in this for me? Yeah, I want a brownie, but I'm not just going to sit here wasting my time thinking about how much I want a brownie. So what else am I going to go do? Is that what you mean?
No, because I don't think removing bad habits or bad tendencies or whatever your vice may be, I don't think that that is synonymous with intentional growing.
Can you say that again?
Like,
I think I get what you mean.
I don't think that removing certain things from your life has to be in the same framework as putting something in your life that is intended to help you grow. So like I'll use food for example again.
So meaning like they're two different processes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think they're the same.
Right.
So when looking at removing, I don't think you have to look at where's the growth in this. So I'll use food as an example. If I don't eat healthy, right? But I also have a goal of growing muscles. Those are two separate processes of stopping the eating stuff, like getting rid of sugar, right? That's one aspect. But going to the gym and working out, that's another aspect, right? And I think even just really getting rid of something in itself grows you in your mental fortitude.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think that's kind of what I was trying to say.
So yeah, like I get it, but I just don't think that it's always
It's just
at
not
the
the same
time.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part I agree with you. Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Like you can remove the thing or decide not to do the thing. But then what's like the part B, I guess, to that?
And I think that's where you replace it with something that should allow that growth.
But replacing something with that growth doesn't mean that it necessarily looks like what we're replacing, like what the previous thing was.
Yes.
Like I'm not going to now, because I'm no longer eating brownies, every time I crave a brownie, eat like a whole cucumber. Because like at the end of the day, why am I eating that many cucumbers? I'm probably not even hungry, you know? So, but I do think that initially and particularly, sorry, in the context of faith, us just deciding, hey, I think I'm going to take a step back from that. There, it is growth right there. Making that decision, taking notice of that. What you decide to do later, whether it's, you know what, if I had that extra hour, I could spend that going on a prayer walk. Cool. If you decide not to be like, I'm going to spend that whole hour doing something else instead, and you just continue to live your life and not continue to replace it every time the urge is there, you still grew. It's just, it looks different for different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that we, as a society and a generation of people, are too obsessed with being entertained? And that might be why a lot of us struggle with consumption, because we just consume too much, period.
My initial reaction is to say yes. But I don't know if it's so much with being entertained or if it's actually a problem with immediate gratification.
And well, so this is what I was going to say. I don't think entertainment is the right word either. I was going to say self-gratification, which furthermore
sure, self-gratification, yeah.
We have a problem with misplaced worship. That's what we all have a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to do things to either exalt ourselves, exalt our feelings, or exalt cravings, whether they're good or bad. Because, yeah, our worship is misplaced. Our focus is misplaced. So it will always be a problem. Forever and ever and ever, amen. Which is bleak.
Very.
The end.
It is. But
Dun, dun,
I mean, always be a problem. But again, that's why the whole sanctification, that's why it's called a sanctification process. And it's not like you've arrived at sanctification, right? It's like you're going to keep falling down. You're going to keep messing up. You're going to like say, okay, I'm cutting this out, and you're going to pick it back up again. You're going to say, I'm going off of this. I'm not watching this anymore. I had an addiction to this. I'm stopping. You're going to do it again. It's going to happen. But again, that's why Jesus died. Like that's the whole point, is that we cannot arrive there on our own. And so I think it's so easy for us to get discouraged with that, but it's like there's a reason that we cannot arrive there, and it's to bring glory to God. Not that our sin brings glory to God, but the fact that we can never get ourselves out of it and he has to. I feel like that's the part that's glorifying.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like that verse, like, in our weakness,
yeah,
his strength.
Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we definitely have a problem with entertainment. We have a problem with
I would say entertainment is a part of it.
It's a part of it.
Yeah.
But I would say in general, it's just we have a problem with misplaced worship and idolatry.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're all worshiping something.
Yeah.
Just what is it?
If you think you're not worshiping anything, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You are. Maybe it's just yourself.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that being said, we have some things that you are saying that you are trying to work towards and change, like discipleship. What was the other thing? I'm sorry. This conversation has been so long, I forgot.
I know. It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years.
I mean, the music thing is not so much a thing anymore. It's just kind of, it just is for me now.
Okay.
But the discipleship thing is definitely a thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I have one more that I know I need to do, and it's hard. And the Holy Spirit is constantly like, Shayna, you know? And I'm like, But
No.
I think that I need to cut out of my diet the opinions of other people, because I'm a people pleaser. And if no man can serve two masters, I literally cannot please people and please God at the same time. My focus is distracted. But I, like, being completely honest, I'm not 100% sure how you actually cut that out. Like, I'm trying. Your girl's in therapy over it, okay? Like, I'm trying. But it's sometimes it happens before you notice.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing I'm learning the most in the process of trying to, you know, go through that journey of getting rid of people pleasing is to do a lot of reflecting after on what I could have done differently so that I'm prepared for the next time. Just because it's really hard in the moment and it's very automatic, and I catch myself doing things for the sake of people and not maybe even like what I know God would be kind of like, Shayna, like, why are you doing that? Like, I did not tell you to do that. You did that because you're scared. You did that because you're worried about what they think of you. You did that because this and that. And so I have to work on that. And so I think acknowledging, okay, this is what I did and this is why I should not have done it, or this is how I could have gone better. And then the surrender piece, I'm constantly being like, okay, God, I don't know, that was really hard. this is why I did that. And yeah, I messed up. I know I'm not supposed to be doing that, but I'm struggling. So can you please like give me strength next time? So I think that's kind of a piece of my diet that I'm changing, even though that doesn't really, it feels like it doesn't fit, but I feel like it fits.
Well, yeah, I think it fits because what you're consuming is the opinions of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we take it back again to like last week, I think a part of the reason why consuming the opinions of people, probably for everyone, but especially for me, is such a problem, is because I really do start to put my identity in what those people are thinking about me.
Interesting.
And I'm like, okay, if you're thinking this about me, it's almost like a if you think, therefore I am, not if I think, therefore I am. So
Interesting.
it's like, okay, if you thought that about me, it must mean such and such. And I am often digging myself into holes and not listening about what God says about me, which is just, that is the ultimate, like, okay, wrong diet.
Right.
Like, have you even asked God what he thinks?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's, I think that one's, to be honest, it's going to be a lifelong thing for me, I think. Not that I'm like claiming it, but I just know how hard it is and how deeply it's ingrained. And
You think so? Lifelong though?
I feel like there will always, and I could be wrong, but I feel like there's always going to be a piece of me that initially is like,
no, I'm saying it.
I
You're wrong.
agree.
What?
I think certain vices we have are our vices. And I think certain things we just carry with us through life, and you just get stronger in dealing with it. But I don't think things go away.
yeah.
But I mean, do you think that you can become a recovered people pleaser?
Yeah.
Because I think the reason why I said no is because it's like, do you think there's a difference between something being in the back of your head that you have worked on enough that it is in the back of your head versus it's a constant struggle?
But that's what recovery is. Like if we look at, like, if you think about, like, alcoholics, they might have not had a drink in 60 years. They still have the urge for it when the chance comes up. And then it's like you're surrendering to that. It's like either you're going to surrender and say, yeah, I'm going to drink it, or I'm like surrendering and laying the urge down and I'm like trying my best to walk away. I think that's the process. Okay. And I think for me, the reason why I say I don't think it'll ever really truly be gone is because I can imagine that I am going to have to surrender that to God every single time. I cannot, and you know, like God might heal me from it completely, but like it feels like something I will forever be in conversation with God about and be saying like, that made me really uncomfortable. I did it, but it was hard. And it was something I had to think about a lot. I had to be strategic, all that stuff. But yeah, just in general, the term recovery implies that it's still there. It's just not playing an active or maladaptive role in your life.
Right. Okay. Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, those are some of the things I'm changing or trying to change in my diet. Thank you for sharing yours.
Yeah. If anyone else wants to let us know.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
What are you currently trying to change in your diet?
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
Me too.
Because I think we all are in some way, shape, or form.
I think if we're pursuing Christ and if we're wanting to grow and be better, we have to. It's a non-negotiable. And the second that you accept Jesus, I think that process starts. And for everyone, and this is the important thing, for everybody it's very different. And so while we have this conversation about changing your diet, it's important to recognize that it's your diet. And so what's in your diet is very different than what's in my diet. Jesus, yes, he has a standard. The Bible tells us exactly what it is. But in that process of sanctification, we're arriving differently. So just because God has convicted me of something does not mean that he has convicted you of that same thing or that you're surrendered to it yet. I might not be surrendered to something that you've given up to God yet. And I think it's really important for us to have, especially as women who face so much criticism and ridicule and just outside voice telling us about our person. It's really, really important to be gentle on yourself and other people in that process. Like if somebody else is doing what you wanted to be doing and God told you to put it down, well, it doesn't mean God told them to put it down yet. He's working on them. That's above you. It's Jesus and them. And while we're walking through our own journey, knowing that even if we falter, even if we fail, our identity is still in him. And so
there's grace.
There's grace. There's so much grace. And that's what makes this whole process bearable. He's in control of it. It's not up to you. Thank God our salvation is not up to us.
Oh my gosh.
My word. If it were, sorry, I could talk
thought.
for like 5 hours on that because if our salvation were up to us, we it's a wrap right now.
Done for.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
But just knowing that he has already forgiven you, but in our obedience, that's how we become more like him. And he wants us to be like him because that's how he's called us to be. That's our identity. So just as we go through this process, let's support each other. Let's be gentle with each other.
And yourselves.
And ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we talk about some boy briefs?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, wait. Should we do the question
We have options.
about, but like the one that pertained
The one that we got from
to the
a
thing
viewer?
before? Well, yeah, but remember there was the two, and I said we should switch it because of the conversation we had earlier
So switch it.
about the hair.
Okay. go
Remember?
ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Again, it's been 84 years.
It's been 84
It's
years.
been long, but I remember.
Woo! Lived a whole lifetime in the last 2 hours. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is hair color preference a thing? Even if a woman's hair changes / is dyed?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes.
No.
Imagine. You have one chance.
One chance only.
Okay. Is hair color preference a thing? Even if a woman's hair changes or is dyed?
So, like, I guess this is the silver fox thing.
That's why we thought of it.
Is hair color a preference? I'm sure it is. I think, yeah. How high on the totem pole is that preference? I don't think that high. Like, I'm sure there are guys that are like, yeah, blondes,
Right. Yeah.
but I don't think they would discriminate against a non-blonde.
I mean, they should be lucky to have a girl at all.
That's,
But anyway.
I think.
Yeah.
I think
The
that's-
end.
I think that's how most guys might feel. Like, ooh, girl, not just ooh, blonde girl.
You think so, though?
If I'm
'Cause,
looking,
like-
if I'm thinking about the average guy, yes.
Okay, the average guy, yeah, maybe. But I was going to say, I feel like I've heard guys talk like, I only date blondes.
I don't think the average
know?
guy is a tool bag
Yeah. Okay.
like that. I actually think that those kind of guys are the minority.
I hope so.
Well, because when you read the question and the idea of like, even if the hair color changes or something, like I'm thinking, your hair is like, it's natural
Yeah,
color now.
me and my
if you
12
came
gray
home
hairs.
with like red hair, like,
yeah.
I like
would-
red hair.
say that again?
I like red hair.
Okay. So
Oh,
that's
so I'd
for
be
example.
fine.
Yeah. Lucky you. If
Actually,
you came
but-
home,
okay,
like if she came home with a different hair color that like you weren't into, does her attractive level go down, or is it just like, oh, that's going to take a while to get used to?
Yeah.
I would like to think the latter.
Be real.
But
with
in
us, brother.
reality-
come on.
But in reality,
Yeah. Lay it
I
on
don't
us.
think I can definitively say I know the answer. But I would like to think that it's something I would have to get used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you came home with blonde hair, I might be a little bit taken aback.
A little.
I'm trying to be nice.
It would be my blonde hair, and I would be taken aback.
If I saw you with like blonde, like root to tip, like let's say you went platinum, I bet Priya change it back.
Yeah, like if you went
Like a full
platinum,
Kim K. Like
Change it back.
transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Unless, I mean, we don't know. We've never seen you with it, but
Maybe not,
I
though.
would.
I don't know.
Because she does pull it off.
She pulls it
So
off
you
great.
might be able to pull it off, but like
Well, no, she's very different person.
No,
Like
but
not
I'm just
everyone
saying,
can do
like,
that, but
you might be able to. But if you ever came, this is totally an aside, but like if you ever came with a hair color that I didn't think was flattering on you, I would tell you. I'd be like,
you
let's go.
would.
I would be like, let's
You
go
would.
change it back.
Right now, get in the car.
And no
thing
box dye
is-
either.
No, never.
The thing is, I trust that if you did get a hair color change, it would be in the best way. So
To be
even if it
in
was
my
a,
best interest.
sure, even if it was like a color that I didn't like, I'm sure that you would do it in a way that flatters you.
But like generally speaking, though, like let's think generally.
Okay, when we say generally, is it like, let's say you had a gym crush and the girl was a brunette the whole time and you're like, yeah, she's so fine.
Yeah.
And then one day you walk into the gym and your gym crush is now blonde. Are you like, dang?
Yeah.
Steph. Is that what you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Or like for example, like a celebrity crush. Let's say like you have like one celebrity crush, and they've like consistently looked the same way. Like who's that one? Your one celebrity crush?
Kaylani, Tori Kelly.
Tori Kelly.
No, the other one.
There's more.
She's married to what's his face. There's one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound it like that.
The Kristen Bell.
She's not my crush.
Oh, what is she?
I just like her a lot. Like I want to be friends with her.
Kristen Bell's so fun.
Oh, that's fair. I want to be
She's
friends
not
with
my.
her
She's
too.
not one of my crushes.
Oh, okay.
She's
okay.
cool though.
I would kick it with her.
I would totally be friends
You know
with
who
her.
else? Oh my goodness, what's her
I
name?
want to be
She's
friends with
in-
Chrissy Teigen.
No,
No.
but you know who I would be friends with?
Who?
The girl. She's friends with. Oh my goodness, and she's always like doing cartwheels in her kitchen, and her husband is a chef. Sarah. She's best friends with. Please hold. You guys, you know who I'm talking about. Is her name Chrissy Sarah or Sarah? She's best friend. Who's she best friends with?
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry. This is so irrelevant too. And she always does like she'll like test out her heels. Christy Sarah. Her name came up. She's best friend.
Wait, who is
I was just
that?
gonna say you're gonna say the name, and we're not gonna know who it is.
Christy.
What's?
She's best friends with her. That's who I was thinking about.
Oh.
But either way,
Priya doesn't know who her is.
Yes, I do.
Music artist.
Yes, I know who that is.
Name one song.
I couldn't. Sorry.
That one.
Helpful.
No, I do. Anyway, move on.
No, but
Okay.
I was gonna say the other person. Who's the girl from Pitch Perfect? I'm so sad I don't remember her name right now. I know her name. Anna Kendrick. I would be her.
Oh,
She seems so
she's
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress very much so.
I don't know how we got here.
Yes. I'm sorry. What was?
Oops.
Gym
we
crush.
Oh, hair. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's say, fine. Yeah, leave the celebrities out of it. But let's just say, yeah, you have like a gym crush, like a little,
Mm-hmm.
flirty little crush with some girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks in one day and she's like completely changed her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still feel the same way?
Yes.
Because what matters is what's in
In
here.
her heart.
If it's a gym crush, it's not what's in here.
Oh.
Well, it is, but
Yeah, it is. You just might
But-
miss that.
Yeah.
I think the caveat would be like extreme hair. So like if you go from like brunette to red, but when I say red, I mean like
Andrew Green Gables red.
flaming hot. What's that?
Flamin'
what's
Hot
that?
Cheetos red.
No, not Cheetos. What's that hot peppermint candy? Red. Fire hearts.
Okay.
Remember the little hearts?
Oh, the cinnamon
Yeah.
hearts.
Yeah, cinnamon hearts.
Yeah.
like Ariel, like the
Yeah,
cartoon Ariel
but then
red.
from like the base of your head top all the way down,
The
it's all
root?
just red. Yeah.
Base of your head top. All the Jamaicans pop off in the comments. My guy, what was that? He's over your head top.
I'm sorry.
I loved it.
The fact that you've never been on camera,
So funny.
if nobody knew anything about you,
That would
they
have told them a
would
lot.
from
From
just
that
that
right
right there. Like you just
I think I sound black.
exposed your identity.
I think you sound black too.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean,
I'm not sure if I
Fine,
sound
aside from
black.
that.
Sometimes the way people approach me once they've talked to me on the phone and then they meet me for the first time, I know I don't sound black.
I think there's things you say.
I say black
Yeah.
things,
That
but I don't
give
think I
away you're black.
sound. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is very discouraging to me. I wish I sounded like Kiki Palmer.
Wait, what?
I love her so much.
What?
Kiki Palmer is just like a black woman has entered the chat. Like you just know. Me? Ambiguous.
ambiguous.
That's
Oh my
funny.
gosh, Shayna.
Yeah, I don't think hair color
my
matters.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Well,
it
I'm glad
does,
to hear
but
that.
it's such a small percentage that I don't think it would really make a difference.
What's the one thing
Okay.
that would make the difference, do you think? If you could pick something that you feel like most guys, not all guys, but most guys might agree. Looks wise.
Looks wise only.
And then I want to hear an anything. Because I would assume anything has to do more with like a deep sense of character
Yeah.
thing.
that would make a difference.
That might like turn the attraction off.
Yeah.
We should preface, not to beware of this, ladies, who cares, but we're just curious.
No, do you
Like, yeah.
dye your hair?
Or whatever else it is that he's about to tell
Yeah.
us.
Maybe any kind of like cosmetic surgery might turn a guy
Went
off.
to the extreme.
Yeah, like if I liked a girl and then she came back with like a big BBL. If I'm a guy that's not into BBLs, if I'm a guy that's not into BBLs, that's a turn off.
Yeah.
Are
okay.
there guys
Or-
that are into BBLs?
Yeah.
that are into
Or
them?
not?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like every guy's into BBLs.
I'm not.
I wouldn't say so.
I don't care for it. I don't really care for any kind of cosmetic enhancement. Think about how I feel about aging. I like
Yeah.
the natural
But there
state
are
of how life
some though
progresses.
that are like so subtle
If I can't
that like
tell,
you
then I
could
don't
have
care.
done and people would never know.
If I can't tell, then I don't care.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Yeah.
how like a guy will be like, oh, like I like when she's natural or wears natural makeup.
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
natural
yeah.
makeup
Or
was like,
no,
a 2-hour beat.
I prefer my women in no makeup.
So
but
it's
then
more
like,
like they can't
any
tell.
girl who knows looks at the picture and goes,
She's wearing tons of makeup.
should I list off all the
That might be
14
a turn
steps?
off.
Like,
Too
What?
much makeup.
Too much makeup?
Like if you wear makeup in a way that it changes how you look, and then you take it off and you look different, that could be a turn off.
So it's more catfishing and not makeup. That's the turnoff.
Yeah, sure.
okay, here's my thing with that though.
Oh no, here comes the makeup artist.
Strap in.
For example, you could have a girl who, let's say, is like super, super blonde.
I'm just a girl.
Okay, when we say
Right.
blonde, give me a blonde, so I can visualize what kind of blonde.
Rebel Wilson.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, promise me you're going to bleep this out.
Have you watched?
Because I'm going to give you a very practical
You
example.
can't give me a celebrity. Why
Have
gotta
you
be
watched
somebody
Pitch
we know?
Perfect?
No,
Oh,
You
you've
haven't watched
never
Pitch
watched
Perfect?
Pitch Perfect?
no.
Add it to
Can
the
EJ
list.
join us for our movie night, please?
Does EJ want to join you for this?
EJ, can you please?
think you need
can
to
make us
undergo
your-
some
You can
education.
make me my quesadilla.
Ooh.
I'll make it and then just leave.
No,
No,
you have to hang
stay.
out.
You guys want to watch Burlesque, Pitch Perfect?
Legally Blonde,
Legally Blonde.
Devil
I
Wears
don't-
Prada.
I don't.
Mean
I'm
Girls.
cool. I'm not that cool. I don't wanna
Can you
do
stay
that.
for one?
Miss Congeniality.
Miss Con-
You
'cause I've
like
never seen
Sandra
that one.
Bullock.
See, we could watch Miss Congeniality because I've never
I've
seen
seen
it.
Miss Congeniality already.
Dang it.
I
Well,
don't care
Shane
to watch it
hasn't.
again.
It's a good movie, though.
Will you guys sit through a video game marathon with me and Elliot?
Sure.
Priya won't. Look at her face.
You answered that really
Look at her
quick.
face.
Because it's like I don't mind watching people play video games. I just don't want to play them.
I would rather watch.
And
No,
if there's
you gotta
snacks
play it.
involved and
You
you,
know
guys
what?
are explaining
If-
to me what's
if you're
happening,
involved and I'm doing it with you, okay.
Okay, so then Elliot has to come to this. If he doesn't agree to the movie marathon, I'm not going.
oh,
Okay.
wait, how
'Cause
much
if-
do I
if
trust
you
Elliot
need-
in this
if
situation?
you need support, then I need support.
Okay, Elliot, please don't let me
Elliot?
down. Please.
Elliot's my
Elliot.
guy. He just upgraded his PC. We're not doing this.
Wait, I'm
But
kind
I
of
feel
sad
like
though because
he
I
should.
wanted to see them play video games too and explain it because it's kind of funny to watch.
And you two playing them together would be funny.
It would be
Me
funny.
and Elliot should start a YouTube channel of
Streaming
just us
just video
doing
games.
stuff.
You
'cause
should.
We're a hoot.
You
We're
guys
funny.
are. Elliot. Elliot.
Hold on. Okay.
Oh.
Go.
Elliot. Say yes.
Please,
You better come through.
please.
That's all I have
Thank
to say.
you.
Anyways.
Yeah. There will be guac.
Continue your story
there's
though.
food.
Oh, yeah.
You were gonna say somebody's name, and I said don't say it.
Oh, yeah. No, but I can't.
Oh, so
think
why
of
can't
a-
we use Reese Witherspoon? She's blonde.
No, but I'm trying to give you EJ a practical example that I know he's going to be able to visualize
Oh, I can't.
because he won't be able to visualize a celebrity.
Okay.
Okay, you have to promise you're going to bleep this out.
I mean, I can't visualize a celebrity.
No, the difference that I'm going to explain.
That was a humble drag right there.
Yeah.
You got dragged.
No,
son.
like,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay.
I
You've
wish
seen
I knew
her
who this was.
with makeup and without makeup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's very blonde. So she's one of those people where her eyelashes are really blonde. So she could be wearing no other makeup, but if she puts on mascara, it makes a big difference in the way that she looks because all of a sudden her eyelashes are dark and now her eyes are like framed and they like pop more than they did before. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's something that you can notice. That's a big difference, but it's not like she did a lot. Like that's like a very simple thing to do.
I don't think guys are talking about mascara ever though.
No.
I think they're talking about like falsies.
No.
Like
we're
if we
talking
look like we
about-
could bat our eyelashes and take
And
flight.
like fly away. Yeah.
No, we're talking about if your face changes after you take it off.
Okay, then what do you mean by your face changes?
The person you just said
Like your nose is a whole different nose?
changed when she took off mascara.
But that's not her doing.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not her fault. That's not because she put on tons and tons
But
of
the-
makeup.
But see, since when did the conversation become about somebody's fault?
Okay, that's
The
fair.
question was,
Dang it.
can it turn a guy off? The
Oh my
answer is- The answer
gosh.
is yes.
I think the
Because I
lesson here,
remember
ladies, is do what you want.
specifically, I was cool with her, and being like cool. There's a part where you're like, oh, I would consider it, and then she took it off, and I was like, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm being honest. Oh no. I'm serious though. And there was this girl
They were
in
too
high
stunned
school
to speak.
that was like that too. Looked really good with the mascara. Took it off, and I was like, whoa.
What's that song where it's like, na 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 na, whoa? You know that song? You know what I mean?
I do. Oh.
I just like heard that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm serious. I'm sorry. If
No,
that sounded harsh, I'm sorry.
We forgive
I
you.
mean,
We did ask you to be
You're
honest.
Yeah.
We defend you. Don't
Yes.
worry. We'll defend you.
We still
Um,
think you're a good person.
I mean,
I
he's
am a
your
good
man, so
person.
you actually have to stick beside him.
That's true.
I'm
I signed up for this.
yeah.
I'm
I'll ride
sure-
at dawn if
I'm
we have
sure-
to.
I'm sure there are some guys who it wouldn't bother,
Mm-hmm.
hmm
but I would say the percentage or the split is even. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I feel like I had another question, but it might take too long. But I'll say it anyway, and we can like table it if we ever need.
Okay.
But it's like very different direction.
Okay.
I was gonna say, in your opinion, because I think in the whole change your diet thing, I think there's similar things that we all have to change our diet about. There's some people that have vices more than others, but generally speaking, I was gonna say, what do you think is the number one thing that guys probably need to change in their diet, and then what do you think is number one thing girls have to change in their diet?
Guys have to change porn
Okay.
because that's probably the worst thing in your diet. And then girls, I don't know. Gossip.
What do you think is the number one thing girls have to change?
it's hard to pick one thing that like fits so broadly.
Okay, I'll answer it like this. Because the reason I said porn was because I think as a society, I think it's plaguing men as a whole. So I think it's fair to say that a lot of men are consuming this, and it's very, very detrimental.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So what would you say?
For women?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the first thing that comes to mind is where and who we look to for validation.
Okay. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, and again, it feels like it doesn't quite fit, but comparison,
Yeah.
which I actually think is across the board.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Which I feel like kind of weirdly fits in a way with the
all of
validation
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You guys too.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Well.
The end.
Yeah. I fix that.
Bye.
I was really about to like seamlessly transition, and then you were like, okay, the end. If you guys like today's episode, be sure to give us a rating and review. You could find us on YouTube. If you're watching, shout out to you. If not, what are you doing? We're on YouTube. It's on video. It's fabulous. The only person you can't see is EJ.
Yeah, that's right.
If you would like to give us a rating and review, again, we'd appreciate it. It really helps us out. We want to know how we can improve. You can listen to us again on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to follow
The word has lost on me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I also have felt very tongue-tied all episode.
Me too.
Yeah. If you'd like to follow Priya, myself, EJ, the show in general, all that information is in the show notes. And until next time, stay...
Oh, no!
No!
Courageous.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Until next time, stay courageous, stay faithful, keep embracing the journey, and don't get your panties in a bunch. We
Whew.
love you. Bye.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what it is? I always go to say stay strong, stay courageous, but it's stay courageous, stay faithful.
Oh.
And then I panic.